What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Boujee Buzz podcast, where we are redefining luxury for women ready to ditch the hard life and step into their soft states of being. I'm excited about this episode. I say that about every episode, but I am really excited about all the episodes because I just feel like all these topics are so good. So let's just jump right in. Let's get into today's Boujee Bible. So we're going to be covering two topics technically. So the first being Mardi Gras is this week. Today's the 23rd, and the official day for Mardi Gras was like Tuesday the 21st, but you know how it goes. Like, well, maybe you don't. If you don't know, it's in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it's pretty much like a week-long affair. Like, it's super animated with all the parades and all that jazz. And I'm like, I have a confession. I've never been to Mardi Gras. I am determined to go next year. But here's my thing. And the reason why I'm embarrassed to admit that is because my family is literally from Louisiana. Like, my mom is from there. Her entire family, like, they're all from Louisiana. They're not from New Orleans, but they're close enough to where it's like, I don't know. I feel like I should be participating in all the big Louisiana activities. Like, literally people come from all over for this, and it's like most of my mom's side of the family is there, and I've never been. But to be fair, I was always like in school, whether that was like grade school, and even when I was in college, I was in school. And then I've been out of college for I graduated almost 3 years ago. But the first year, it was just like my mom had got diagnosed with cancer around that time, and she had her surgery. So obviously that was not top of mind at all. And then the next year I was in like moved to New York City mode. And then this year is like, I'm still kind of, just like taking care of stuff, like trying to get things off the ground with like, now Boujee Boss Media is launched, but just like starting to prep for season 5, and like also prep for our film StoryDisrupted, which is our next little mini Boujee Bite topic that I'm going to do a little spill on. But yeah, so if you have been before, let me know your favorite memories, and let me know like your favorite things to do, because I have to go next year. I'm saying in 2024 I will be at Mardi Gras, I'll be at Essence Fest, I'm gonna try to go to Essence Fest this year. While you playing, I'm actually gonna try to go this year because I'm like, I just have to be there. But anywho, moving on to the next little topic, StoryDisrupted. If you guys don't know what that is our that's our documentary film. It is detailing the formation of Boujee Boss Media. And I know you may be thinking, okay, but like, didn't you kind of cover that in the first episode? And it's like, girl, that was like nothing. I'm actually taking you behind the scenes. Like, you're literally gonna be with me. Like, I'm like sharing like you're gonna be in the meetings, like some of the meetings we had, like you're gonna be like there, like even the behind the scenes of this, like recording season 4, like which is so funny because it's like I'm literally still in the process of recording the documentary as I'm like promoting it for something that will air months later when it'll already be finished. So that's super funny. But yeah, like literally like behind the scenes of recording this season, like all of the other things, like the website stuff, like post-production, like literally I'm taking you behind the scenes of it all. You're going to be like meeting, and you've already met some of the team already. Actually, no, at this point you've met the whole team, because last episode was Jasmine and Shanice, and Erica's episode's already aired, so you already met them all. But yeah, you're gonna be like, it's gonna be, I'm taking you behind the curtain to really show you what all went into building this brand, because like I kind of just spoke high level to it. Obviously there's no way that I can encapsulate everything. I just kind of more so spoke to like when I first made the decision to pivot. That's really, a lot of what that episode stemmed around, and like the reasoning behind that. And then I kind of like high level spoke to, what we do and why we exist. But like that is giving you a really extensive sneak peek. Even then there's no way I could encapsulate everything, because this has been like 4 or 5 years in the making. But I'm really excited about it. It is going to be dropping March 15th, Thursday, March 15th, 2023. So in about 3 weeks, it'll be dropping a release right here on YouTube right after the season finale airs, the week after the season finale airs, for season 4 of this podcast. And I'm talking about it now because, I mean, if you've been on the site or whatever, then you know that like this has been in the works. This has been coming. Like we have a whole wait list for it and everything. So of course, you can go to bougeebuzzmedia.com/film to join that wait list, because we've got some fun things for you that everyone else doesn't get access to. But also, I just wanted to talk about it here because on the trailer, it's become available today, or at least I'm like announcing it here that it's available. And so the link will be in the bio for you to check that out and like get a sneak peek at what you can expect. It has been such a roller coaster, but I'm super excited about it. I can't believe this is happening. And like I said, it's so weird talking about it as if it's like all done when I'm literally in the middle of filming it right now. But I don't know, it's going to be done and I'm super excited about it. I've been like excited about the clips I've already recorded and just like, I'm just like, yo, this is going to be so dope. So, yeah, make sure that you go check that out. Join the wait list, all those links are going to be in the show notes, in the description, wherever you're tuning in. Okay. So yeah, just wanted to do a big shout out to that because super, super excited, like worked really hard on that. And, yeah, I'm just excited to share more content platforms, more, just more content in general with you guys. Cause I really feel like that it's going to, impact people in a major way, in a very positive way. So make sure you guys go check out the trailer and let me know what you think, because I really want to know and I'm super excited. So yeah, stay tuned. March 15th, 2023, about 3 weeks from now, StoryDisrupted documentary film dropping right here on YouTube, Boujee Buzz Media YouTube channel for free. Shout out to that. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into some Boujee business. Shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Her Timeless Brand, which is the creative agency where strategy meets modern design. It is run by none other than our very own Chief Creative Officer, Erica Ortiz, who serves as the lead rebrand strategist and designer. Her Timeless Brand is designed for women of faith who want to increase their brand's visual value and give their audience the luxury experience they deserve. Signature offers include the Essentials package, which includes brand strategy, brand identity, mini social kit, and a customized 2-page website, as well as the Brand Refine Her package, which includes brand strategy, a photo shoot mood board, brand identity, 15 pieces of marketing material, and a customized 5-page website. Just an FYI, y'all, that Her Timeless Brand is behind the lovely logos, fonts, and social media aesthetic for Boujee Buzz Media, so you already know it's top tier, okay? You can visit hertimelessbrand.com to learn more. Thanks again to Erica and the HTB team for sponsoring this episode. Now let's dive right back in. All right, so let's get into it, y'all. In this episode, we're going to be talking about why are just women who don't like women friends. Don't know exactly what I'm titling this episode yet, but it's going to be centered around that and why that's just very stupid, And when I say women who don't like women friends or promote women friends or whatever, I'm not talking about those who don't have them because of they just have had because of like other people's doing. I'm talking about those who like promote basically like the pick-me's, to be honest, who are brag about not having other women friends because you all know the rhetoric where it's like, oh, like other women are just like, women are just too much drama, women are just like so catty and just fake and I don't have time for that and blah blah blah, as if they also are not a woman. But we gonna get into that. And why it's important to have, other women friends and other female friends as a female. I remember I went to a spoken word event. Shout out to Spoken Word and Chill. They're I mean, they're based in New York, Brooklyn, I think specifically, but they do events in like different places. But I went to a spoken word event with Jasmine, our production assistant, actually, back in, when was that? Geez, September, I want to say. And the featured spoken word artist, Khala the poet, I highly recommend checking her out. Her work is phenomenal. She's been in the game, for, I think she said about 20 years. She looks amazing. You would never think that. But she did a set and of like 6 poems, I think 6 pieces that she wrote. And one of them was just around like sisterhood. And one thing she said, was before she went into performing that stuck out to me was just talking about like how she just doesn't understand how women like that I was just referencing cannot connect or like those that are most like them. And that really stuck out to me because it's so true. Like, how can you as a woman not like the thing on this earth most like you? How can you speak so derogatory, like, to something that's most like you as if you're not of the same group? Like that, I think that's the baffling part to me. And I want to say this is, because obviously, it's a different time now and there's different, within each gender, there's different groups. And so one thing that I've noticed is like a lot of times I see this happening among women who are heterosexual, meaning like women who are straight, women who like men. I rarely ever see things like this for, women who may be like queer, like bisexual, lesbian, whatever. It's oftentimes women who are heterosexual who I see, and I'm not generalizing, but I'm just saying this is often what I see, in terms of just a common theme that seems to be reoccurring is like the women who take on that sort of rhetoric usually they like men. And I find that interesting. And so like, I want to give that preface because I feel like we're going to be kind of coming at it from that lens. Just because of like how those women like prioritize men over women, when it's just like, no one gender is better than the other, but which is why it's so toxic. But there is strength in like being with those like-minded. And I feel like to that note, women like that, I said pick me earlier, and I really do feel like that is, a form of like the pick me, so to speak, because in my mind, and this is me as someone who has multiple like male friends. I mean, I'm not taking on the men and women can't be, friends or whatever, and I'm going down that rabbit hole. Sorry for the mic, I just hit it, so if you heard that, my bad. But like for women who have just, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but I will say that for the women like that, I feel like men in female relationships, while I do believe that men and women can be friends, once again, speaking from the heterosexual perspective, I do feel like, especially in American culture, there is a difference in like the male and female friendship versus like the female and female friendship and male friendship. Like that's like that's how I perceive it. And I mean, just blatantly honest, from my perspective, I feel like you can be platonic, have a platonic friendship with a guy, but it's always going to be a little different. He's always going to treat you a little differently than he would his male friends. Like, and most times it's not even a conscious thing, but it's the truth. And I mean, that could be in a good way, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't necessarily mean he treats you badly, but especially if we're dealing with like two heterosexual people here, it's oftentimes he's going to treat you a little bit differently just because you're a woman. And I mean, even vice versa, I feel like subconsciously women also treat male friends different than they do women friends. Now, once again, I'm not going to fall down the rabbit hole of like the nuances of the male-female relationship, but I do want to highlight that in regards to this topic because I feel like the women who advocate so hard for not having other women friends and prioritizing men over women because of women are catty, women are blah blah blah. First of all, like, men are extremely catty as well. Men can be extremely petty, extremely fake as well. Like, the generalizations are just like they've just are so outdated and they've got to go. And like I said, I do feel like there is a difference. And I mean, quite frankly, like, let's just call it a spade, especially if you're dealing with an attractive female here. There's going to be, listen, 9 times out of 10, and this is based on my like brutally honest conversations I've had, like, not only with male friends but like male family members, and how they're the lens they see things through. You're dealing with heterosexual males, like, I mean, not to say that they would do anything inappropriate, but in terms of how they view you, there may be some sexual attraction there. And like, it's just not going to be the same dynamic that they would treat you in versus how they would treat a male counterpart, a male friend. And so it's like you're doing all of this dismissing of other women for a species, which I don't want to make it sound like men are aliens, but like, you know, they are a species that, like, for one, like, they wouldn't do the same thing for you. I have never heard a straight man boast and brag about how he doesn't want any male friends because of whatever, and he prefers to have like only have female friends. I've never in my life heard that. I doubt I ever will. Like, simply, and that's even in the case like of like the males having some strife or issues in their friendship, you still would never hear something like that, because, like, you know, I guess in that sense it's admirable, you know, that they have that loyalty to their own kind or whatever. I'm just laughing because it sounds like I'm talking about another species, but I am technically. But anyway, like, you know, in that sense, you know, I guess that's admirable in a way. But like, also it's just like, that's also because like they know, like, with men, like, there's just a certain level of familiarity that brings about a different level of comfort and a different like nuance and demeanor and cadence and how you communicate and engage with each other, because you just understand each other on a different level. You know, you have the same parts, you have the same, like, you know, because you know, listen, I'm all for equality. Obviously this is a women focused brand and we are deserving of all the good things. We're deserving of the equal pay, all that good shit. I'm here for the women equality and like accurate representation and all of that. But I do think that men and women are wired differently. And I feel like, I mean, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Quite frankly, I think, you know, if we stop trying to like put one over the other, like, we could see that I think they tie hand in hand, you know, a lot of times. And we should like lean into that more. But I think, you know, just as you know, especially like on the heterosexual front, and I keep emphasizing that just because, like, once again, like I said, I don't really see this, and I have like a lot of like queer, you know, female friends. Like, my best friend, one of my best friends from when I'm 6 years old, she's, you know, she's queer. And like Jasmine, she's a proud queer woman. Like, so and I never, you know, obviously they're not like that because they're my friends, but like, I just, even when we were like talking through this episode, Jasmine was like, I've never heard of that. She was like, that's some straight people shit. And honestly, it is some straight people shit, because like, why is this even a topic of discussion? Like I said, you would never hear this from a man. It's only women. And it's like, you do this in a way to like make yourself seem better than the other. And it's just so disgusting, that behavior. Like, any behavior that, any sort of like opinion or perspective that you feel the need to like diss someone else or like elevate yourself over someone, like, in order to prove your point, like, that should be a sign that that's probably not a viable perspective to advocate for, because it just like doesn't make sense. And it's like, I get it, we've all been hurt, we've all had experiences that, been hurt by women, or and some more than others. But like, the saying, like, in that there's plenty of more fish in the sea when it comes to men, the same applies to like platonic friendships with women. Like, and I am oh my God, like I am a firm like example of that. Like, even just thinking about my own friendships, like I mean, really, in terms of like female friends, Shakira's probably the only friend that from like childhood, female friend from childhood, that I'm still like friends with. Everyone else I either met later in life, like I didn't meet my other best friend Amber until I went to college. And everyone else, it wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't always like a fallout, but it just, you get older, you drift apart, whatever, stop talking as much, whatever. There were various reasons for it, but I mean, still, like, so, and I had, but some of those friendships, they were extremely toxic. I was, definitely, I think I've talked about this before in other episodes of like how much of a doormat I used to be, especially on like my blog with like the Melanin Perspective. Check that out. Like, I talk a lot about just on that blog how just much of a people pleaser I was, and like the toxic situations I was in. And so, I definitely know what it's like to be hurt by a woman and then like want to shy away from it. But I mean, the truth of the matter is, like I said, that's anywhere. Like, if you think that men are not catty, if you think men are not petty, if you're thinking they're not doing grimy shit, babe, please. And most times when we're dealing with these scenarios where like you're going so hard for your male friends about, you know what I mean, like how it's no drama and all this other stuff, I'm like, you're experiencing a tainted lens of them, because like I said, they're not going to treat you the same. And I'm not going to say 9 times out of 10, because I'm going to try to like, I don't want to generalize, but like maybe 7 times out of 10 they want to fuck you, especially if you are attractive. Like, and I've heard it from like, this is not just assumptions I'm making, I've heard this verbatim. Like, and it's not always that they want to fuck you, but it's I mean, a good chunk of the time it's like they've at least thought about it. Like, especially when both parties, like I said, are heterosexual, and like, there's some, decent looks going on. And like, you're never going to get the version, he's never going to talk to you the way he would talk to his male best friend. And it's just crazy to me how defensive women get over that. I'm like, when they're trying to like disprove why like being friends with women is just like such a horrible thing, it's comical to me, because it's like, if there's like, why are you trying so hard to prove something? And I'm sorry, but it's like, for women like that, like the root of almost every single one of those situations, there's, not everyone, but a lot of times you see like some sort of like attraction to somebody, some sort of insecurity, right? Like I talked about, like how, you may have been hurt, and you know what I mean? Like, you're trying to like, you're bitter now, you're a little bit jaded, and that, you develop that exterior as a result of that, or, something else along those lines. So I think it's interesting. I think it's pretty toxic to take on that cadence. I feel like this is going to trigger so many people. But I don't know. I mean, that's the whole point of this show, is like to really talk about these topics, because I just feel like that's crazy to me. Like, and I don't, like I said, I want, like, this is not about a like men versus women thing, but you need to have at least some people in your life that are like-minded, and not just like-minded in like thought process, but like also similar in being, because like some things that you're going to come to them about, like, discrimination, like women discrimination, gender discrimination, even if they are open about it and have like liberal views around it and are allies and supportive, because there's so many men that are supportive of women's rights, even if they are, it's just like they still don't quite understand. And I mean, that's okay, because it's like, I mean, I don't understand what it's like to be a man, and I'm not gonna, I'm prissy as hell. Like, I don't know what it's like to have a penis, child, even though that would be, I mean, I know I'm not the only one who's wondered what it's like to walk around with something between your legs. Like, that's just interesting. Anyway, I don't know what it's like, though. I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't know. I mean, and I'm not going to try to act like it. And I mean, to that note, it's like there's comfort in the familiarity of being able to like relate to other people who know what I'm going through in that sense. And so it's just crazy to me that like all the things we go through in life, all the things we encounter, to never have someone that's not, family, like, because even what I also noticed is a lot of times like women like that, they also even within their own family are like carry similar cadences to like the females in their family. And I'm like, this is family. Like, yo, like you really, it's like a form of self-edge. It's like Black people who like are anti-Black. It's just like, how? Like that's who you are, girl. Like how? You know what I mean? I don't understand. Like, I really genuinely, like, well, I guess I do understand. And like I said, I can understand if it's rooted, like, where it may stem from, if you've been, like, hurt before, which 9 times out of 10 that's the case. It's usually just like a jaded thing, or sometimes it's just like, generational, where like maybe if you had a toxic parenting or whatever from someone who carries that same cadence, then that may have been instilled in you, which is unfortunate, but it does happen sometimes. So I mean, I guess I do understand where it comes from, but I don't understand how you can be exposed to different and still carry that, and be shown other perspectives and still carry that, like being committed to misunderstanding, and being committed to like staying in one lane, even if you've been proven different. And I'm not trying to like say to force friendships with other women just because they're women, but I am saying that like this whole thing of like, there's no other woman in this world that understands me. There's no other woman in this world. I think that is just like such a jaded generalization to have. And it sends a very negative message out there. Like I said, you will never hear no straight man out here boasting about how he could never have man friends because they too grimy, they too blah blah blah. Like, you ain't never gonna hear no man say that and mean it, even when they be having petty stuff going on. And trust me, they do. Like, and so I guess like that's like, I've been rambling. I have my notes here, child, and I barely looked at them. I just started rambling. I hope what I'm saying makes sense, and I hope, like, I understand this may trigger some people, but I hope what I'm saying doesn't get misconstrued in a way. Like I said, I'm not trying to, dismiss any sort of hurt that any woman may have experienced by another woman. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I'm not trying to say say you should force friendships with other women just because they're women. I'm not trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that you can't be friends with other men. I'm not trying to say that. What I am trying to say is that it's so important to be with people, to have at least one connection with someone who understands what it's like to be a woman, as a woman. Like, I like the growth that's helped with, like, within me and in the people around me when they talk about their own experience. Like, that it's necessary. It's necessary. The same way all of these other, collective groups, like I gave the example earlier about like Black people, or, whatever nationality or ethnicity you are, that like have people who understand what it's like. It's necessary, because I mean, it just opens your eyes up to a whole new world, and new perspectives from the same or similar lenses. It's very enlightening, and it really, like, more than anything, I know I've been I've carried kind of a sassy cadence throughout some of this, but overall it really does make me sad at the end of the day that some women out there really think that they're so above connecting with other women in that way, because I just couldn't imagine where I would be, if I didn't have the women, connections that I did in my life. And I know that there's so many other women, just from people I've engaged with, who feel the same way. And I also know, I may not have carried this cadence about women, but I have carried, similar, I mean, well, it is, I guess, discrimination against your own kind, which is, I guess that's why it's sad, is because it is discrimination against your own kind. And that is like, it sounds harsh and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but it is essentially what it is. And I mean, I know I've had my own, discriminations against things that were like-minded to me or similar to me in whatever way, maybe not necessarily through gender, but and every single time it was rooted in some sort of hurt, some sort of bitterness, something that wasn't positive and nothing needed to come of those feelings that I was experiencing, because nothing positive could have come from it. And like, once I addressed those, then ironically enough, my palette, I guess you could say, opened up. So yeah, I mean, I think, let me look back through my notes if there is something that I want to mention here. But yeah, I just, so I guess all in all, if you have ever felt that way, then I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that way. But I would strongly advise you to really ask yourself why you carry that cadence. Because it's important, I think, to get to the root of that. And I strongly feel that if you do get to the root of your feelings around that, if that is what you feel like, then I feel like you'll likely find some hurt there. You'll likely find some truths that maybe aren't really so true. Or maybe some, truths that aren't really so true, that may have formulated out of hurt, that may have formulated out of things that they shouldn't be based out of. So that's my little spiel for today. I feel like I kind of rambled a little bit, but I don't know. I think I had some good nuggets in here. I guess we'll see when I listen back. But yeah, that's essentially it. You need friends that are like you, at least one, because it's gonna help you advance in ways that you wouldn't even imagine. All right, so the Boujee Bible verse for today is that platonic soul connections among women are essential to our growth. Similarly to the message that I was sharing in episode 5 about the toxicity of, in the self-love conversation, I mentioned that community, with like-minded people is super important. As women, we got to stop with these jaded generalizations about our own kind, about other women, because quite frankly, it doesn't, if you're doing that, it doesn't set you apart in the way that you'd like. I mean, it might set you apart, but not in a positive way. And so, just please let go of that. We all, I'm sure have had negative situations or scenarios that have happened with other women, but just like there's other fish in the sea when it comes to, romantic relationships, there's other women out there, who will get on your same wavelength. And, it's just important to have that. It's important to have that. I truly believe in the power of women being connected, not on the, fake hurrah shit, but on some real stuff. I don't know where I would be. And I have, I'm not going to rehash, but I've got so many male friends, and I mean, it just, they're great, but I don't know what I would do or where I would be in this world if I didn't have the women friends, the women sisters, that aren't my, because I do have a biological sister. Shout out to you, Danielle. She probably just rolled her eyes. If she even watches this, she doesn't really like me like that. She's 16, by the way, so that explains that. But yeah, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that. And because it's really grounded me, it's helped me grow in a different way that I didn't even think was possible. So yeah, definitely nurture that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. I'm sure like all the other episodes, this was triggering in some way to someone. So yeah, let me know about that. Let's talk about it. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree, all that good stuff. Let me know. Of course, if you're watching this, like it, subscribe to us. If you're listening, subscribe, leave a review, all that stuff. Shout out to the Boujee Bop of the week. It is Best Friend by Brandy. I love me some Brandy. Okay, the vocal Bible, you know what I'm saying? Had to add her as one of the Boujee Bops of the week. That song I used to wear that song out. And I thought about it when me and Jasmine were picking out the Boujee Bops of the week for the season. I was like, ooh, we got to do that. Because honestly, I don't know where I'd be without my best friends. And it's just such a such a moment. It's just such a vibe, as is all of Brandy's music. Anyway, before I start spiraling into a fangirl moment, as always, stay bougie, stay bossed up, and I will catch you next week.